Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to box the cornice. So put our soffit under here. We got soffit going up that gable end. So the first thing you want to do to box your cornice is to put the sub fascia board on, which is this board right here. Now, to get it at the right height, you have to remember that you're going to have plywood on top of your rafters, and you want this to run off the end without any interference. You don't want to have a little ski slope here at the end. So what you can do is have your plywood on here, and then you put some type of a straight edge, and you'll see where the corner of my sub fascia meets up with the bottom of my speed square, so that I have a straight slope down, and the plywood would come all the way down here so that you have a straight down the side of your roof line, and it goes straight off your sub fascia. Okay, so that would be step number one. You would do this, and you would mark a line here, and you would go further down your roof, and you would mark another line, you would chalk a line, and that way you would get the correct height on your sub fascia. The second thing you would do then would be to nail your ledger board up against your house. This board back here in the back is the ledger board. Now, to get the height of your ledger board, all you do is take your level and you run it across until it's level. You mark the underside of your level. You have your mark. You go down to the other end of your house. You do the same thing. You chalk a line, and then the ledger board would be, the top of the ledger board would be on the line. That way, when you put your level on here, it would be a level across from your sub fascia to your ledger board. Okay? Now, you have boards that, if this is more than 12 inches wide, your soffit, you need to put on lookouts. The lookouts are these boards right here. They run from the inside of the ledger board to the inside of your sub fascia, and then they're just nailed in there. Normally, you can do a couple of ways. You can put them 2 feet on center. You can nail them into your rafters and then nail them across, or you can put them all 16 inches on center. A lot depends on what material you're using for your soffit. If it's a heavier material, you want 16 inches on center. If it's something lighter, then you might only need to go 24 inches on center on your soffits. Okay? So we figure out, we put our sub fascia on first, then we put our ledger board on, and then we put our lookouts in. Okay? Now, coming around the corner over here, you can see what we did to the end. Now, this is what they considered the boxing in the cornice, where you're enclosing everything. All right, so your sub fascia comes out flush with this barge rafter right here. Then your ledger board here in the back also comes out, so it's flush with the end of your sub fascia. Then you put this lookout in here, the one on the end, with this cut on it. Now, this cut is not going to be the slope of your roof. This roof right here is put on a 10-12. So this angle right here would be 90 minus your 10-12. So on using your speed square, you can figure out what an angle of a 10-12 is, which is 40 degrees. Take 40 degrees, subtract it from 90 degrees, and you get 50 degrees. So this cut right here would be cut at 50 degrees. All right? So now you got your sub fascia coming, you got your lookout cut at 50 degrees over to your ledger board on the back, and then what you need to put in is this vertical board right here. All you have to do is measure from the top of your ledger board to the bottom of the barge rafter, and then this angle right here would be your 10-12. This would be the same slope as your roof. Okay? So this one's at a 10-12 or 40 degrees, and this one is at 90 minus 40 degrees. So this one down here would be at 50 degrees. So If your roof is something besides a 10, you just figure out what the slope is in degrees and subtract it from 90, and you can get this cut right here. This one's the same as the slope. And then the only other board that I need to put in is I need a backer board over here, so when I put my soffit on the back side of this, I have something to nail to. So then I could nail my soffit material on the underside of this soffit, down the back of this soffit, and then underneath, under here, was where the soffit would go. So that is the framing of a box cornice. Now, like I said, all you have left in is put your fascia board trim on here, fascia board trim on here, soffit material under your gable end, down this back side, up underneath here. You'd have a fascia board on here. Again, it would be dropped down so that the outer edge would not have a ski slope on it, so it'd be dropped down just a little bit. It'll hang below this. Your soffit material butts up to the back side of the fascia, because on the inside, on the wall, they put what they call a freeze board, and that will cover up the gap, okay? So put your fascia boards on, put your fascia material, or your soffit material on, and then the last thing would be a piece of trim under here, which is called a freeze board. It's like a piece of quarter round or anything that you'd want to put under there to give it some, to cover up that crack on the underside of the ledger board. So that's all there is to boxing a cornice.